Hello YouTube, it's your boy Zach Martin. I was really like expecting to say deformed pig, but no, I have rebranded my channel now. It's your boy Zach Martin. It feels so weird. I'm so used to saying a deformed pig, but anyways, welcome back to my channel. I haven't uploaded in like a year at this point. It's been a really long time. My hairline changed again. It's changed. Like there was the Sabaton one, which was like growing it out. There was a Blind Guardian, which is at its peak. And then there's the Putting It Back Now, which is the new era, the Zach Martin era. The deformed pig is dead. It's me now. But anyways, today I'm bringing you a review of the new Five Finger Death Punch album, F8. So there's a few reasons I'm making this review. I mean, it's weird. I do have a massive personal connection with this band, considering the fact that they were one of the first metal, if you really want to call them that, bands that I got into. But I never really showed that on this channel because, quite frankly, they're terrible. Their new stuff is terrible. But I figured I want to talk about this album because there's a lot of things I have to say about this album, and I feel like it can't be contained to an Instagram rant on my stories, or rant on my Instagram story, whatever you want to say. So I'm not going to waste a lot more time. Let's get into my overall thoughts on this new Five Finger Death Punch album, F8. What do I think? It sucks. I'm just going to get straight into it. It sucks. This album infuriates me. You don't know why? Because everything was going right for this album. Before, I can understand why Got Your Six, or Wrong Side of Heaven Volume 2, Got Your Six, and Justice for None. Those three albums sucked, frankly. I mean, Way of the Fist, War of the Answer, those albums were amazing. American Capitalist, that was pretty good. Wrong Side of Heaven Volume 1, it was okay. But then, no, their last three albums were all terrible, but everything was going right for this album. Got Your Six and then Justice for None, I can understand why they sucked. They were going through legal troubles and constant substance abuse within the band, and it feels like they really had to crank them out, especially because of their legal troubles that they were going through with their label. And it feels like if they hadn't, they never would have released those albums, and within the gap, they really wouldn't have released something in probably around 5 years, and in that time, a band like that would have faded into obscurity, really. So I don't necessarily... I can understand why those last few albums suck, but this album had no right to suck. Literally everything was going right. They had finally figured out all the legal issues. That was all resolved. They had finally gotten off all the substances that they were abusing. All that wonderful stuff. They were all finally sober. And they even got a new drummer, even though I'm not sure if that's really a plus in some people's minds. It's not in mine because I think their former drummer, Jeremy Spencer, is an amazing drummer. But, you know, maybe they need a new drummer. Maybe that's what they need. But nope. They even promised that this album was going to be as heavy as War is the Answer. I'm like, that's borderline false advertising. I'll sue you. You guys seem to be good at getting sued. But how do you promise something to be as heavy as War is the Answer? An amazing album. I love War is the Answer. That's a great album. Yes, it's still got some issues with it, but overall, compared to the rest of their discography, it's a friggin' masterpiece compared to the rest of their discography. But this is just overproduced, radio rock, garbage. How do you screw this up when everything is going so right for you and you screw it up? You thought they were finally going to deliver on a raw and heavy album? No, it's overproduced radio rock at its worst. It is... I hate it, and I'm going to get right into the track by track. So this might come kind of weird coming straight after that, but that opening track is F8, which actually is kind of a cool opener for a Five Finger Death Punch album. It's short, pretty much takes the melody of the next song and plays it on, say, something more orchestral, in this case, a string ensemble. Trivium did something similar with Capsizing the Seas off their album In Waves. I hate comparing a band like Trivium to Five Finger Death Punch, because Trivium is... Five Finger Death Punch is... not that, but it's actually kind of cool. It's a unique opener, especially for a Five Finger Death Punch album. And then it goes straight into track number 2, Inside Out, which is, it's alright. It's the first singer from this album, and if I'm being honest, I kind of enjoy it. Yeah, the lyrics are more the one, yeah, I'm all alone and everyone is terrible. Everyone sucks. But I mean, I like the riff and how the pre-chorus actually incorporates some string parts to it to make it feel at least unique among their own discography. It gives me some hope. And then my hope is immediately dashed with the next song, number 3, Full Circle, which all my hopes of this being a good album, zoom, right down the drain. It's just flat out bad and forgettable. I listened to this album right as when I started recording this, right as I finished listening to the album, and I can only remember how 2 songs sounded on the album. That's the only 2 songs I really enjoyed on this. It's flat out forgettable. Generic, overly produced, weighed down by terrible lyrics and a horrible vocal performance from Ivan Moody, which now is probably the best time to mention. I should have brought this earlier. But the reason Five Finger Death Punch gets so much hate is not because of anything else other than Ivan Moody. Yes, the riffs can be generic and the music isn't anything special, but it's not a reason to really hate on them as much as they get hate on. It is his vocals performance and his lyrics. He's not a bad vocalist by any means. I've seen Five Finger Death Punch live multiple times. Not by choice, might I add. They were playing at festivals. But he's not a bad singer. He sounds good live. He can do good screams and good cleans. But why do they always choose to go the most generic? It infuriates me because it's always this whiny. It was much worse, I think, on And Justice for None, because at least And Justice for None was, that infuriated me, because Five Finger Death Punch is one of the most successful heavy metal, if you want to call them that, acts of the 21st century. Literally, some of their achievements have only been rivaled or accomplished by Metallica. Freaking Metallica. And then they have everything. They have something. They went recently at the time of recording. They went on a massive sold-out stadium tour in Europe with freaking Megadeth. They go on massive sold-out stadium tours across the U.S. They have things that people would kill for, and then they whine and complain about it. It infuriates me that they would do that. And it's not as bad on this album. Thankfully, they kind of cut back on this one. But on the last one, songs really like Champagne, I guess, it infuriates me. You have things people would kill for, and you're whining and complaining about it. And I need to get through this rapid fire. It's going to be a 20-minute video. So next song, Living the Dream, is actually, I gotta admit, it's a good song. It's their best song since their 2013 song, Wrong Side of Heaven. That's right, they haven't made a song that's good since 2013. That's embarrassing, and it feels like the song that they actually put heart and emotion into, and they wanted to make a genuine and sincere song here, and it works. They call to multiple superheroes in this, like Captain America, or you have to fight the bad guys. Hey, matey, Superman, can you save us from ourselves? That's kind of cool and unique for them. I mean, it's not necessarily like, oh wow, that's so, it's pretty good. I enjoy it. Starting to number 5, so a little bit off. So it reminds me of the song RX by Theory of a Deadman, and I hate that song. You're no surprise, I also hate this song too. Big surprise, I know no one saw that coming. But the biggest compliment I can give this song is it's mercifully short. Do you remember when they promised this album was going to be as heavy as War Is the Answer? Because I do. Yeah, we've had no heavy songs up to this point, unless you say Inside Out is... No, Inside Out is not heavy by any means. So now we're on to number 6, bottom of the top. But I'm not sure, but the opening riff kind of reminds me of Megadeth in some ways. And it got my hopes up, and then the vocals came in, and my God, this is one of the worst vocal performances and some of the most embarrassing lyrics I've ever heard. It's flat out embarrassing vocal-wise, which is a shame, since the riffs and like the instruments that are going under this aren't half bad. They're good. If they had good vocals and good lyrics on top of it, it could be a really good song. But of course, Ivan Moody had to do what he did best and done mess it up. So now we're on to number 7. Right? Yeah, okay. I kind of got lost within my notes because there's so many songs on this thing. Which is To Be Alone, which is the opening riff is kind of good, and the song as a whole is okay. I mean, it's by no means a great song, but it's listenable for sure. My biggest issue is how overproduced it is. Do they not understand that when they say, we want it as heavy as Way of the Fist and War Is the Answer? Those were raw albums. They didn't feel overproduced, partly because literally Way of the Fist was recorded in their living room. That's how they got it done. And that worked because it was raw. It was raw freaking metal. At the time, I can call Way of the Fist and War Is the Answer metal. It's debatable if you can call them metal nowadays, but back then, you could call them a freaking metal band. And now you can't even do that because it's... The vocals just ruin everything. They used to be the peak. Like Ashes, the opening track from Way of the Fist, the screams on that. Woo! And then you just go to this, and it's just awful. And now we're getting even worse with number 8. Mother May I, TikTok, which is as embarrassing as the name app of the same namesake, which is TikTok. So I'm making a funny TikTok joke. But probably the worst song in the album, and I do not say that lightly. It's awful vocal-wise. I think this is one of the worst vocal performances from Five Finger Death Punch in recent histories. It is atrocious, and it is an embarrassment. If I was involved in this song in any ways, I feel like I'm embarrassed that I even listened to this song. It's terrible. So now we go into number 9, which is Darkness Settles In, which is generic radio rock. Seriously, I don't remember a thing about this song. It's way too long and a waste of everyone's time. Kind of like their discography. Burn. But as I said, I literally started recording. This is the second I finished listening to the album, and I can't even remember anything about the freaking songs. So now we're going on to number 10, which is This Is War, which, I mean, at least it's trying to be heavy. I mean, it does it in all the wrong ways. It's overly produced, and that's what makes it suck. As I just said, Way of the Fist and War Is the Answer, they were good because they were raw metal. Metal is not something that sounds overproduced, something that sounds like it went through 30 audio engineers trying to make it sound as clean and radio friendly as possible. Back in the day, it sounded like they weren't, I don't know how to describe it, but that they were okay with not being played on the radio. And now it sounds like you can't, like, now it just sounds like they're obsessed. Like, we have to, every song we have to make has to be overly produced so it can sound radio friendly. So on all the rock stations that play the same 7 songs every freaking day from all the new metal bands. It's terrible. It's just trying to be overproduced so we can get as much radio play as possible, when that's not what anyone wants from Five Finger freaking Death Punch, unless they're doing decent ballads such as Wrong Side of Heaven. So on to number 11, which is Leave It All Behind, which is, I'm running out of things to say at this point. All I can say is generic, overly produced radio rock with crappy wannabe cool lyrics. That's literally all I can say about this album, because it's all the same. All the songs meld together in my brain. I lost brain cells listening to this album. Now on to number 12, Scar Tissue, which is, I mean, it's listenable for what's that worth, or for what that's worth. At least you can hear the bass here, so you know that Chris Cale at least played something on this. Yeah, it's forgettable, it's generic, it's bland, it's overly produced, like the rest of this album. And now, we're finally on number 13, the last track of the album, which is The Brighter Side of Grey, which the brighter side is that this album is finally done, huh? Ooh, I'm sorry for that. It's generic, radio rock ballad at its finest, or I guess technically worse. It is. Nothing about this song is good. It's too long. It goes on for freaking ever, and it feels like in some ways it wanted to rip off. I know the bands have. I hate comparing a band like this to Five Finger Death Punch, but let's say a band like Hammerfall ending their most recent masterpiece of an album, Dominion, with the song And Yet I Smile, ending it with kind of a soft, more reflectful look back at life. It feels like they were trying to do something along those lines, and I hate comparing a band as amazing as Hammerfall to a band as horrendous as Five Finger Death Punch. But it feels like that's what they were trying to do here. And then with Oh Look at Us, we can be soft too, but it's terrible. It's not good. Everything on this album feels the same. You have a few heavy songs and then a soft song, then a few heavy songs, and then a soft song, and then it ends with a soft song. It's terrible. The last track on this album, Brighter Side of Grey, is terrible. So let's get into my closing thoughts. While it's definitely an improvement over their last few albums, F8 is still a terrible F8 is a forgettable, bland, generic album that is weighed down by laughable lyrics and an overabundance of forgettable songs. Nothing about this album works in any way except for the song Living the Dream and the opening combo of F8 and Inside Out, making a mediocre song. So my final score for F8 by Five Finger Death Punch is a 2 out of 10. It is bad. I hated almost every second of it. The only parts I liked were Living the Dream, and that managed to elevate it up just slightly enough to a 2 with the addition of the mediocre combo of F8 and Inside Out. So that's my overall thoughts. That's my review of F8 by Five Finger Death Punch. What did you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Well, if you disagree, you should probably go see a therapist, unless you think that I gave this album too high of a rating, which in that case is probably true. Probably closer to like a 1 out of 10. Who am I kidding? I'm giving it a 2 out of 10 still. Thank you so much for watching. I'll try and upload probably a little more. I make no promises. But I'll see all you people in the next video, if that even happens.